I started out when I was helping an animal shelter get started, and then they called me one day and said that they had a bird down there, an owl, that they couldn't get to eat. And I asked them what they were feeding it, and they said bird seed. And I said, owls don't do bird seed, they're meat eaters. And they said, will you come get it and take care of it? And that's what started it. From then on, I got all of the wildlife calls and critters that came to my house for care. I'm officially a home-based independent wildlife rehabilitator. I've been doing this about 40 years. I'm permitted by both the state of Tennessee and the federal government, the feds because I work with migratory birds. Not very many vets are willing to work with wildlife. It's time-consuming, and there's a whole lot of knowledge there that they have concentrated on their dogs and cats and their normal patients. But I've been very lucky with Dr. Wayne Lilly, who I've known for about 20 years now. And so when I have something that needs special care, x-rays or surgery, they go up to Mountain Home. Without my volunteers, there's no way I could do everything that I do. There are not enough hours in the day, there are not enough days in the year to be able to cover everything that's needed. And the volunteers will come in, they'll clean cages, they'll feed for me, they run transportation. They're just miracle workers, and they're such a support. A typical day would start around 5 in the morning with feedings. Baby birds have to be fed every 20 minutes, dawn to dark. Little baby mammals like squirrels and rabbits and possums every 2 to 3 hours round the clock. So you don't get a whole lot of sleep when the babies come in. In between times, it's cleaning the cages, making the formulas, making the food, and answering the phone calls that come in with people that have found a critter and need help with it.
My friend Sue and I come and take care of all of the animals whenever Lynn and Steve go somewhere for a vacation. So we feed the animals, we check on them, we check on the house, take care of things while she's gone.
One thing that home-based rehabbers, we're not funded, so we can't just go out and run all over the country and pick up animals, so we do request people to bring them to us. In some cases they can't, and that's when our transport volunteers come in.
I went to Wilderness Wildlife Week in Pigeon Forge and met Lynn there, where I got to pet a possum and fell in love. And then shortly after that, my dog chased a possum and she ejected her babies. We found the babies and I called Lynn, brought them to her in a panic. I asked her if I could volunteer and she said she needs a transporter for the Sevier County area, so that's how I became involved with Lynn.
This is one of our education ambassador opossums. His name is Rango. Rango's a 1.5 year old adult male. He's been with us ever since he was the size of your finger. He was one of 13 babies that was rescued from the pouch of a mother that was killed by a car. And he's got some permanent hip damage, either as a result of the accident or from malnourishment being caught in the pouch of the opossum while it was waiting for somebody to be rescued.
When I was growing up, I was told not to bother possums or touch possums because they were vicious and they would bite me and they carry rabies. So to be able to pet a possum really changed my world.
With the wildlife ambassadors, the whole purpose, and we have to have a special permit for that too, from both the federal and the state in order to keep an animal as a wildlife ambassador. The wildlife ambassadors that I have are the opossums that you met, the red-tailed hawk, lady hawk, 2 screech owls, cinnamon and buzzsaw, a barred owl, not barn, but barred owl, named Little Dude, and a broad-winged hawk who's a migratory bird. He was hit by a car and can no longer migrate to Central and South America with the rest of them. And then I have my special friend, Pockets the groundhog. One of the reasons that we need outreach with kids and with grown-ups too, for that matter, is we need to keep that connection, that we're all part of, for example, a large tapestry, and we're all threads in it. And if we lose that connection, one thread comes loose and everything will unravel.
I think one of the things that's important that Lynn shares is what to do when you see an animal that you know is a wild animal, that to go and get an adult and not take matters into your own hand, not to be afraid of them, but not to touch them, and to find a parent or an adult to help them with it. And this is a real special time too, because most of them haven't had an opportunity before to touch the animals as they go by. And there's a lot of fear there sometimes, but Lynne is very good at explaining and making sure kids know that she's not going to pass around anything or any creature that's going to hurt them. And she teaches them the proper way to touch them and what they should do if they encounter these animals in the wild.
As I look back over the past 40 years, I have both heartbreak and joy. And I feel like it has opened me up to a world that I only dreamed of as a child. Personally, as far as continuing with the wildlife rehab, I'm going to continue it just as long as I'm physically able to give the proper care to the animals. When I can't give the proper care to the animals is the time to quit. It's worth every bit of the hard work and the heartbreak to be able to release an animal to scamper off into the woods or take off into the sky and go soaring away. It opens your heart in a way that nothing else can.